What if I told you the man everyone stepped over on the streets was once the king of this city? And what if I told you it was a 5-year-old kid with a heart purer than gold who uncovered his secret and changed his destiny forever? This is their story. The winter air bit through the streets like a knife. Snowflakes melted into puddles along the sidewalks, where businessmen hurried past with phones glued to their ears. To them, time was money. To them, a beggar on the ground was nothing more than an obstacle to step around. But Noah wasn't like them. At just 5 years old, he noticed everything: the way people's faces hardened when they were busy, the way his mother's eyes sometimes looked tired though she smiled anyway, and the way the world seemed to ignore those who needed kindness most. "Mummy, stop," Noah whispered, tugging at Alina's coat. Alina looked down. "What is it, sweetheart?" He pointed, and there he was. A man slumped against the stone wall of a closed bakery, shivering in thin clothes. His beard was tangled, his eyes downcast, his hands trembling as if they hadn't felt warmth in years. "Everyone's walking past him," Noah whispered, his eyes wide. "But he looks so cold. Mummy, can we help him?" Elena's heart ached. She didn't have much, barely enough for their own dinner, but Noah's pleading eyes disarmed her. She crouched down, opened her bag, and pulled out the one extra sandwich she had packed for herself. The man looked up slowly, his voice cracked. "For me, yes," Alina said softly, "and this too," Noah added, proudly handing over his juice box. The man stared, his eyes brimming with tears. No one has spoken to me in days," he whispered. His voice was heavy, but there was something about it, an old strength buried beneath years of silence. For Alina and Noah, it was just compassion. For him, it was salvation. That night, Noah wouldn't stop talking about the man. "Mummy, what if he doesn't make it? What if he gets sick in the cold?" Alina sighed. Life was already heavy, rent overdue, bills stacking, but Noah's innocence was relentless. Against her own fear, she walked back the next evening with Noah, and there he was again, weaker, coughing into his sleeve. This time, Alina made a choice that would alter their lives forever. "Sir," she said gently, "you can't stay out here like this. Come with us, just for tonight." The man hesitated, shame flickering in his eyes. "I don't want to be a burden." "You won't be," Alina said firmly. And Noah smiled, tugging his hand. "Come home with us." Inside their small apartment, Daniel, though they didn't yet know his name, sat at their table, awkward and quiet. Noah chatted endlessly, telling him about school, about drawing, about how his dream was to build a giant robot friend. The man chuckled softly, surprising even himself. "You've got quite the imagination. You should smile more," Noah said innocently. "You look nicer when you smile." Alina served him a warm bowl of soup, watching as he ate slowly, almost reverently, as if every bite carried weight. She didn't ask questions that night. She just let him be. Over the next days, Daniel began to help around the house. He fixed the leaky faucet, repaired Noah's broken toy car, even tightened the old window hinges. His hands, though rough, worked with precision like those of a man who once built great things. At night, when Noah asked for bedtime stories, Daniel's voice carried wisdom. He told tales of courage, loss, and redemption, speaking as if he had lived them all. Alina noticed something strange. Sometimes, when Daniel thought no one was watching, he would stare. It was a rainy afternoon when it happened. Noah, curious as always, had been rummaging through a box of old magazines. His teacher had given 4 crafts. Suddenly, he ran to Alina, holding up a faded newspaper. Mummy, look, it's him." The headline read, "Tech Visionary Daniel Harrington Missing, Presumed Dead." And beneath it, a younger, cleaner version of the man, sitting at their kitchen table. Alina's breath caught. This is you, isn't it?" Daniel froze. His spoon clattered against the bowl. His face paled, and at last, he nodded. He told them everything. How he had built a tech empire from nothing, creating innovations that changed lives. How his closest partners betrayed him, falsifying documents, pushing him out, leaving him penniless. how the scandal destroyed his reputation, and how he vanished, choosing the streets over watching his life's work stolen. "I lost everything," he whispered. "Not just money, hope, purpose, myself." But then he looked at Noah, and then a little boy saw me, really saw me. When no one else did, Elena's eyes softened. "Maybe this is your second chance." At his reflection in the dark window, as if seeing a ghost, word spread fast. News outlets exploded when Daniel Harrington reappeared. Cameras flashed, reporters screamed questions. His former partners turned pale as he returned with evidence of their betrayal documents he had safeguarded in secret. Waiting for the right moment, in boardrooms once ruled by greed, Daniel stood tall again, but this time, he wasn't alone. At his side was Eleanor, whose quiet strength had given him shelter, and Noah, sitting proudly on his lap during interviews, his little hands clutching Daniel's tie. When asked how he survived, Daniel didn't credit his brilliance. He didn't credit strategy. He simply said, "I was saved. By a 5-year-old boy, the world saw me as nothing. But he reminded me I was still a man worth saving." His empire returned, but wealth was no longer his obsession. Family was. Loyalty was. And above all, kindness was. Months later, the Harrington mansion lit up again, but not for shareholders. For family. Alina and Noah weren't guests. They were home. Daniel didn't just rebuild a company. He built a future where Noah's laughter filled golden halls, where Elena's smile replaced years of loneliness, and where every employee knew their CEO wasn't just a businessman. He was a man who had walked through fire, fallen into ashes, and risen again, because a child believed in him. In the end, Daniel became not just a CEO again, but something far greater. A father. In a world blinded by power and money, a 5-year-old boy proved that love is the greatest empire of all. Noah didn't just save a man on the street. He saved a father, a leader, and a legacy. And he reminded us that sometimes the smallest hands can carry the weight of the greatest miracles.